Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have one of our clients who is the Tradesman's coach. Joe.
Correct.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, all right, mate. Thank you.
I love your niche, by the way. So, well, it's not a long story, actually. It's a very short story. I had a mate who works on construction and he wanted to get into PT as well.
Yeah.
In amazing shape. He looks like fucking Tarzan. You know, one of them ones that like you just hate because he's that good looking. Like long hair, jaw like this, like my beard's actually shaped, but his jaw actually does that when I've tried to recreate it with hair. Like hands are like fucking shovels, and you just like, oh, he's in fucking such a shape anyway. And I said like, you need to get on this like construction thing. Like you need to do it for like people who are like working on site and stuff like that. Because I've worked on site with my dad, so like,
yeah,
I know the ball ache of it. Like when everyone's like, oh, do you want a fag break? And you're like, no, and then you have to carry on working because you don't smoke, which is a fucking right kick in the bollocks. So like chippy for lunch, then you're like, oh, I'll have a pie and chips again.
Yeah, they go out for fags breaks, and then moment when you go on your phone for 2 minutes. That's the biggest.
I know. But so like that to me, I was like, there's so many issues you can solve there. Like,
massively.
and obviously it's a heavy workload, right? So you get home and you're fucking starving, and you're like, oh well, I've worked all day, so. And I said, you need to get on that. And he did it for a little bit, but I don't think he like fully dove into it. But you went head first.
Yeah, head first while working in the trade. Still, it's my last day today.
Is it your last day today? Oh, you're not pulling a sickie, have you?
I got a hospital. I went to the hospital. I had the hospital earlier.
That's the hospital in Liverpool.
Yeah.
The Spire.
Special appointment.
Yeah, fucking hell. How does that feel?
Buzzing, mate. Yeah, really excited. It's been a long time coming. I've just been like, eyes fully focused on the game, and now it's here. Bit nervous, apprehensive, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, to be fair, like I've seen the numbers from the business, like you're well within your rights to.
Yeah, it was just getting to the point where working, and I know you've got a graft to get business, but it was like getting up early, working till stupid o'clock and not having a life. So
yeah,
and I was getting to the point where I couldn't fully focus and I couldn't progress anymore because I just didn't have the time.
Yeah, but you've obviously gone through that period of well overstretching yourself to get there.
Yeah, and now I feel like I've got the time where fully focused in on it.
I'll tell you what, I'll probably start at the start. So you qualified as an electrician?
Yeah, when I was around 16. I used to do work experience and bits and pieces in the holidays. Slave labour, not getting paid.
Yeah, I know. My old man did that to me.
Since I was like 13. It's for a family friend as well, so you couldn't even ask for money. But done work experience, and then one thing led to another, and then here we are. That was when I was 16. I'm now 25. So what's that, 9 years?
Long time.
Yeah, too long.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how did you actually get into doing the PT in the first place?
I've always been into fitness myself. Probably since I was about 17, I've been into the fitness, into gym. And it got to the point where people used to ask me questions, used to help people out in the gym. And one thing led to another. And I thought, well, we were actually on holiday. Me and my partner were on holiday and we were sort of talking about jobs. Said, if there's one thing I want to do, I'd like to do something to do with nutrition, helping people, because I thought I'm actually quite good at it. So Black Friday come, and they had an offer on for a PT course. So I thought, well, fuck it. I sort of said to my parents about it, and they were like, well, there ain't a lot of money in PT, sort of same old. And I thought to myself, well, there ain't, like, in-person PT, there probably isn't a lot of money, but even if I do it for knowledge to develop and learn myself, even if I don't use it, it's worth doing. So one thing led to another, done my course, started helping friends, started helping family, come across yourselves, and here I am, leaving my job today.
I'm sure there was a lot of steps in between that. What was it like? So you were working like full-time as an electrical engineer, right?
Electrician. Yeah.
I don't know if you had to call him electrical engineer because it makes it sound posher and it's better. Are they two separate jobs?
Yeah, I think so, mate, yeah. Standard electrician, 40 hours a week. I always tell people 40 hours a week, sometimes 45, sometimes 50. When my boss was an asshole, maybe work overtime.
They accept too many jobs and you're like, that doesn't fit in a week. And he's like, you'll make it fit in a week.
Can you work Saturday? It's like, I got a sales call booked in, but I might be able to squeeze it. But it's trying to balance the two, because I was like trying to grow my business and then I'm getting asked to work overtime. And it's like, can you work overtime? It's like, I can, but I got other things I'd rather be doing. Yeah.
How did you manage that schedule wise? Like what were the things that you did to make sure that
getting
worked?
Up 5 a.m, probably, sometimes 4:45, 4:30 on extreme occasions. Work until 7, 7:30. Usually we start at 7:30. I used to get in about 20 to 8 because I'm always overrun from schedule. Right, I've got to just do this check-in, got to do this check-in. Get home, go to the gym finish at 4:30, gym from 5 till 6, go home, have my tea, working from 7 through till 9:30. And then obviously my partner's like, "Are you coming off the laptop?" It's like, "Yeah, I've just got one more check-in. I'm coming, I'm on my way." But yeah, so long days, get into bed about 10, lights out, repeat next day.
Yeah. Weekends as well.
Yeah, non-stop. Like up early weekends. Everyone's like, "You burn the candle at both ends." Like, I know, I feel like shit. I got a cold. What can you do? You just got to carry on.
How was that at home with your partner? Was it tough or?
Yeah, it's tough. I think she's grateful now that I'm sighing. I think she's grateful I got more time. Because like I say, you've got to put the time into it when you're growing a business. So it's hard, but it's one of them things that's always going to be worth it in the end. But yeah, it's what it is when you're growing a business.
Yeah.
It's sacrifices.
I get asked that a lot, to be fair, like off the younger people joining the course who are like in relationships. And it's very like, starting your own business is very, very like full on. Like I remember my dad come down and it was like 4 a.m. and I was like up doing work and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "Working." And he's like, "It's 4 o'clock in the morning." Like I understand people get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, "You're sat on the laptop at 4 o'clock in the morning. You all right?" And I was like, "I'll tell you in 6 months." Like,
we got our own house in September. But before that, living at home, it's like getting up at 5, trying to do check-ins. Mum and dad are upstairs asleep. It's like shut all the doors, trying to talk quietly. It's one of them things. Girlfriend's asleep in bed. I'm downstairs. Parents are asleep. Brother's asleep. You got to fit it in. You got to do something. And
that's massive. That so like in the last 6 months, you've built this online business and moved house.
Yeah. So moved house in September, which was when probably starting to grow the business. Like a couple of months before that. And signed up with yourselves in December, and now officially 2 months in with you guys, and now going full time.
It's fucking very, very good work.
Yeah, pleased. It's been a long, hard journey, but obviously the hard work's still to come. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm pleased. I'm pleased that I've now got more time to actually put into it, because it gets to the end of the day and it's like, right, have you planned your content? My check-in comes, have you followed your content schedule? It's like, loosely. Lydia's like, "What do you mean loosely?" It's like, well, I get to 6 o'clock home from the gym every night and I'm now on my phone like trying to type out a reel because I just physically haven't got time. But
it'll be really interesting to see how I've
got so much planned out. It's like on my break and lunch at work trying to edit reels and then trying to watch bits from the course and trying to keep on top of lead gen. It's like,
I would be really careful when you make this change now not to allow yourself to still work the same amount, because I reckon you've probably got used to working with your foot on the floor that much. And if you think about it, like you've built this business to this point on like morning lunch breaks and a bit of evening stuff. So like it's been a bit scrappy. Don't fall into the habit of thinking that you have to leave your job and then still work like, 6 a.m. till 8 p.m, because you don't probably have to do that much.
Yeah, it's mad, because obviously when you're a coach as well, big thing is sleep, stress. Manage your sleep, manage your stress, and you'll progress. And it's like, I'm telling my clients to sleep. I'm like, right, I'm not one to talk. I'm telling you to sleep, but like, I'm not sleeping myself. And I've got to coach myself. And the biggest point every week is like, I can see it coming. You're not sleeping. And a couple of weeks ago, I burnt myself out like big time, was ill. And it's like, what are you meant to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance. There is no balance when you're growing a business.
Not at the start, definitely not. And obviously I know that you're still really early in the online stuff of like getting there, but it seems to have, once you get over a certain hump, and this is why we always push people to like go a little bit further than they think, because like loads of people are like, "Oh, if I earn 4 or 5 grand, I'll be fine." And I'm like, yeah, you will be fine if you earn 4 and 5 grand. The problem is if your best month is 4 and 5 grand, your worst month is likely 2.5.
Yeah,
and I bet you're not fine at 2.5, are you? And they're like, no. And I'm like, cool then. So your best month needs to be like 8 or 9, and your bottom month needs to be like 5 or 6, and then you'll always be okay.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because at the minute, I'm obviously paying my bills through my Sparky wage. Everything else is on top, but now it's all coming out of one pot. So it's just trying to, like I say, you want to do bigger, you want to do better. So not only you can pay your bills, but you want to have them extra luxuries in life and things like that.
That's where a lot of people get stuck. We have
Paying
quite
bills.
A few people that get stuck on like, they build the online coaching. It adds a very nice side income.
Yeah.
Like, they make 3 or 4 grand and
Yeah.
they're already making 4 or 5 grand. So then they're like, there's 8 or 9,000 pound here every month. And then when the time comes to like make that decision, so many of them bottle it. Not bottle it, because I don't want to make that seem like they're like it's cowardice or anything like that. But so many of them like check out. They're like, you know what? No, I don't want any more. I'll take this, and I'm happy doing this. I don't want to go back down to come up further.
Well, I originally bottled it. Lydia was like, "You're gonna leave your job." told my boss I was going part-time. Originally, he was like, I'll have to think about it. It's like, well, you will have to think about it, but if it's not part-time, it's not at all. And then 2 weeks in, I was like, you know what? I'm just going all in. Full guns blazing.
I think that's the right thing to do, to be fair. Like, it forces you to sink or swim.
I still don't think I'd have had enough time doing 2 days. Like, there's so much work.
The thing is, with stuff like that is 2 days. When was 2 days ever going to be 2 days?
Exactly.
Like, you know the way those jobs work. Like, 2 days quickly becomes 3, which quickly becomes, can you just come on Thursday morning and just finish that off?
I've already been.
Then you've worked 3.5.
I was going to say, I've already been asked to go back and fill in other jobs.
Have you?
I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I would. It's like, you've just got to cut it off, I think.
It's hard. Yeah, I literally come home yesterday, unloaded a van, dropped all my tools off before I dropped the van back. And it's like, stuck them all in the loft. It's like, ain't even worth the hassle for 2 days, unloading them and putting them back in. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm like, I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it, but I found this that I loved and enjoyed a lot more. So it's like, that's my passion. If you enjoy something, like, I don't mind working the long hours because I actually enjoy it. I didn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And then it's getting to 7, it's like, oh, fuck, I've got to go to work.
I know.
It's actual work.
Yeah, real work.
Not a side hustle, yeah.
I know. It sounds really mad when, like, you call a business like it's not real work. Like,
yeah.
but I still sometimes like feel like
it's what it doesn't feel like. Yeah,
it's a bit of
mad.
a joke.
Yeah, but to be able to wake up and say you're doing something you love every day is a bit surreal. Like, I remember saying it November, not last year, year before, when I was talking about what I wanted to do. Like, never would I thought 14 months down the line I'd be sat here. But time flies. If you put the effort into it, I don't know, world your oyster, really.
I think so. I think having the niche that you've got and, like, being as, like, narrowed down with the content and stuff really helps. Because we get it all the time. Like, why do I need a niche? Why do I need a niche? Like, won't that stop people from working with me and stuff like that? But how many clients have you got?
Just under 25 now.
So, like, 24, 25 clients, right? But they pay you a decent amount.
Yeah. Yeah, so I up my prices as soon as I come onto the program. And then I actually upped them again. Like, Lydia set me a standard and I actually upped them again from that because I thought, well, tradies have money and I'm doing the extra work. Like, I'm putting a lot into this. They're getting a lot for their money. So my original clients were on lesser money, and you find that the ones paying less money, like, don't give a shit. I get old clients still on my books who don't check in. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're paying for it. You tell me how much it means to you, but you know what I mean? Sometimes people look at it, I send 20 quid a week, 30 quid a week. Well, I'll check it away. People tell you with the wallet whether they care about something. Like, everybody's got their own list of priorities, haven't they? Like, I know people that spend extortionate amounts on stuff that I'd be like, what the fuck are you spending that money on that for? It's crazy. But it just depends what you value, and people always will tell you with the time and they'll tell you with the wallets what they actually really care about. Whatever they say, they don't really. Like, they'll tell you with time, effort and money what people actually care about. Yeah, actions speak louder than words. It's a big one, I say. Someone saying they want it, someone doing is completely different. For sure. But talk us through, like, did you always work with tradesmen? First of all, as Gym Pop, I'd just take anyone and everyone on. Even when I come to the course, I was having calls with other people, like trying to lead gen other people. Like, I just wanted clients to grow the business because I wanted it so bad. Yeah. And I've actually found that since I've niched down and started working with more of a specific amount of people, I'm busier. I've got getting more calls booked in, things like that. I remember on my onboarding call with Lyd, we planned it out. And she's like, who do you want to work with? It's like, blokes. I don't mind working with women, but, like, I will work with them if they're right. So, well, what do you do as a job? It's like, well, I'm a tradesman. I've literally got it written down here. Like, tradesman's coach, we'll ditch the beer belly, build a beach body. She's like, yeah, you got it. I'm like, nah, that's well too niche. Like, that's well too specific. Like, tradesman, like, do you know what I mean? And then when you think about it, like, what, probably 90% of blokes work in the trade? Probably 80? I don't know. Maybe where we're from. Yeah, like there is a lot of guys, like you don't realise until I start going through Instagram and looking how many accounts there are. And you think, like, shit, there's a lot of people, like, even documenting their own journey as a tradesman. Yeah. So. Well, it's brilliant because, like, you went niche enough without going, like, overly niche. There's, like, a certain level of depth where there's, like, the sweet spot. And if you go too deep, you run out of people. So, like, if you'd have gone for maybe just electricians, it would have been difficult to, like, because then people would have been like, well, I'm bricky, like, can I not do it? And it just would have felt a bit weird. Whereas because you just went that little bit back towards tradesmen, because they all have the same problems, right? It's the same issues. Like, I did groundwork, which is different than electrician, but, like, it's the same issues. Graft a bit harder.
Oh, I don't know. I was good at fucking about on a JCB and stuff like that as well. Sit down a fair. It was hard work at first because I weren't qualified into using any of the plant.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I still never got qualified to use any of the plant, but I was there
Still
long enough
use
to
it.
where they were like, he's probably not going to break it. If the site manager turns up, just get off.
The same with us. Like, can you do that teleporter? It's like, yeah, I can dabble.
Can I, or am I legally allowed to? Because those are two completely different questions.
Yeah, if someone turns up, just hop off it. Or say you got a license, yeah, what, until they ask for the papers?
Yeah. Mine was just like, just get off it and pretend you'd never been on it if the site manager turns up. But we had one of those. It was like a 2-ton dumper, you know, that has like the best things to drive ever where the steering wheel is. And, you know, like it's just got the handle on it that you don't have to use the handle.
That you grab.
You just turn it around. So when it first was on it, I was like, oh, it's a big piece of machinery. Like, you're not strapped in. There's no seatbelt or nothing. Like, be careful. Like, treat it with respect. Halfway through the day, a fucking like dumper full of concrete. I'm fucking like, there's no handbrake on it, but like fucking turning way too sharply to go up these hills. It was like a school with like a second playground that was up a hill, and we were like doing the tarmac. It wasn't concrete, it was tarmac. We were doing tarmac on the second playground, and I've span round this corner and tipped it, and then like the dumper's gone up, and I've just seen all of this coming out of the fucking dumper towards me, and I just thought, oh, I fucked it.
Weird. Once we went up in the teleport, it's like, how high can you go? Like, extend it as far as you can. You're like up this guy, and it starts beeping like you're on uneven ground. You're like, shit, man. We haven't even got like, because you remember wear harnesses and that.
Yeah.
And you go up and without like hard hats, harnesses or anything. You think, fuck, if I fell from here, like,
yeah,
no insurance going to cover me anyway.
I couldn't do that, me. I'm fucking scared of heights. Like,
yeah.
I said I'd do nearly anything for charity, apart from a skydive.
I've done skydive. Best thing I've ever done.
See, it just sounds like my idea of hell.
I sat by the entrance I was last in. He looked at me and went, you'll probably guess you're last in, you're first out. Hopefully I'll fall out second. Fucking hope so. Mate, looking behind me, I'm not even strapped on. We're like 18,000 feet up. The door's still open. It's like, shit, man. Long way to go, but...
You know, lad, I went to uni with a lad that died skydiving as well, which just...
I'm glad I've already done one.
Yeah,
I don't need to do another.
Which is literally like just further cemented the fact that I'm never actually doing it.
I don't think I'd do bungee, but skydive, yeah. It's crazy. You're pretty hard doing skydive, but yeah, lots harder. Yeah.
Honestly, neither of them have ever come into my consciousness, so I won't bother.
Yeah, it's good though.
I can imagine. So you started working with tradesmen. How did you base your program? Because this would be interesting with people, because usually we ask what niche they do, and we talk about the marketing, and maybe not so much about the delivery. So like, how have you built your program to specifically be better for tradesmen than like a normal personal trainer?
I think it's just because I understand their problems, like the struggles, so I can build it. I think the biggest problems I get, motivation and time, energy, things like that. So you got to make sure you're feeding them enough. But if someone wants to lose weight, you obviously can't stick them on shit, like no calories, because their moan ain't got no energy. Then they're getting towards the end of each day and they ain't got the motivation to go to the gym and train. So you've got to cover time, motivation, energy. I think are the three biggest factors. But again, motivation comes and goes. But that's why I always tell people, right, you get like the snowball effect. Because if you start seeing early results, you think, shit, like this is working. Like a lot of people have told me. I was on a sales call with someone from Australia, and he reckoned he had a PT, and he told him to do hour and a half of cardio. He was like, yeah, fair enough. He's like, but you need to do 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes after work. He's like, how the fuck am I meant to do that with what I do? So a lot of people I have calls with say they've had normal PTs before, but it isn't realistic. Like you go into the gym and they're like, do this. Like, mate, I've been at work all day, like grafting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is different, like 100% different. And to be honest, when I say to people like, why me? Obviously there's hundreds of thousands of PTs out there. A lot of them say, mate, to be honest, it's the fact that you've been there and done it. Like you've been in our shoes. A lot of people say, well, electricians don't do fuck all, but it's still trade. It's still a trade. So
you understand it enough at least.
Yeah. I actually put out a reel the other day actually, and it was to do with like the tradesman's workout, and there was one with a plumber. You have to check it out. One with a plumber, screen was blank. One with an electrician, because they always blag and say, "Oh, Sparky's got loads of money, so I had the old hard hat on, flicking the cash." Like that.
Yeah, but that's why your marketing works, though, isn't it? Because it plays to the same shit that like they'll say.
I actually managed to get it on the tools. Actually, I followed on the tools on Facebook. I was like, post it. I thought I ain't gonna get because it's like non-advertising, but yeah, they put it on. So
fuck off.
Yeah, they put it on the tools. Had a few likes, so.
Well, you better get your lead gen going on those likes, man.
Well, that's the thing.
All those people.
I said like last week, my leads have been going through the roof, but I feel like I've sort of been slacking because I just haven't had the time.
Yeah.
Whereas now I've actually got the time. I'm going to set the hours, instead of lead gen in your break time, lead gen like turn up at site 8:30. It's like, fuck, I got a couple of messages. I was just sending them out, and before you look, it's like 10 to 10. You're like, shit, man, I better get to work. 10 minutes later, it's break time.
I bet there's loads of like meme accounts though and stuff like that for like trades workers, right?
A lot of them are like meme accounts or like check out, like it's like tradesmen shit gone wrong. So a lot of people you follow, especially a lot of people from abroad, and they're not actually tradesmen, like you start engaging with them and they're just like people reposting shit. Yeah. So you've got to be specific. I find as well, there's a lot, I don't know if it's guys or tradesmen, there's a lot of egos out there. People telling you that I need help, and as soon as you offer the help, like, nah, I'll try it by myself. So, hang on, mate, you've just told me that you really want to lose weight, you've tried everything that don't work, and now you're telling me you'll do it by yourself. But
you will get that a lot, and I think that's more of I think that's a male audience thing as well. I think you get that more when you work with males like this. I'm not going to pay another bloke to tell me how to lose weight. I can fucking do it myself. It's like, it's a lack of acceptance. I think also, and I don't know whether this is just my experience with the trade, but tradesmen generally just go to the gym and fucking bang loads of test and deca and eat and get big, but get massively fat.
I was going to say, I've had a lot of guys I've spoken to, like, send me pictures of like, nah, train, mate, I'm all natural. You see the pictures, you're like, fucking hell.
I think that would I think that would be a good angle for you to go at, because I bet there's loads of tradesmen out there that like, there's loads of tradesmen in shape, and you look at them and they're just fucking on steroids, pretty much most. Yeah. I know loads of lads that are fucking geared off the nut, like then go and work on the roads and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, bro, like I barely even train. And I'm like, you take steroids and shovel concrete all day. Like that's training.
I find with traders, it's either one way or the other. It's that one, or you get the big obese ones who go to Greg's every morning. You see them queuing outside Greg's or Mackey's in the morning, 4 or 5 coffees deep, Monsters, Red Bulls. Honestly, man, I see people on site with like drinking energy drinks, Red Bulls, like no teeth. And you think, when's enough?
You know what? My missus' brother's like gone and worked on the roads like as an apprenticeship. And like he was like, well, he wasn't telling me, but he told her that like every day he'd had a Domino's for lunch. And like he was drinking like 6 cans of Monster a day because obviously he's like 17, right? So like no one had told him that you're not really allowed. Well, not that you're allowed to do what you want, but like it's not really okay to drink 6 cans of Monster a day. That's like 600 milligrams. Well, it's more than that, isn't it? It's 450, 900 milligrams of caffeine a day, plus a Domino's.
Plus a cigarette every 10 minutes.
I don't know if he's smoking yet, but he probably won't be. When you're clever enough to figure out that you get twice as many breaks if you start smoking, you quickly think,
it's mad.
It's not a bad idea, that is it? Because everyone's like, do you want a fag break? And you're like, oh, I don't smoke. They're like, oh, you move those slabs over there then while we all go and have a fag break. And you'd be like, hang on a minute, how have I fucking copped for this?
Yeah, how's this fair?
I bet vaping saves some people's lives, innit? It's like, I'll just have my bubblegum vape, thanks, and take my time off work like the rest of us.
Yeah, mad how many blokes you see on site blowing smoke.
Mate, I never smoked or didn't drink brews, so like all of my breaks were fucking pointless.
I find a big thing as well is you get offered, like when customers are offering you shit, like it's deemed like, what are you saying no for? It's like, well, hang on a minute, I don't have to have fucking donut and free chocolate biscuits. I am allowed to say no. Like, I'm allowed to have a couple, but I don't have to demolish the whole plate.
I'm assuming you're in people's houses as a Sparky, aren't you? So like,
yeah.
We're shit actually. Like we just make them a brew.
And
try and not let the dog eat them. We don't really go as far as giving them sweets.
Worst one is when you I had it the other week. You're working in someone's house and he walked past me. He's put the kettle on. I thought, fucking lovely. That's all. Made 3 drinks. I thought, cool, one of them's for me. Went and sat at the dinner table. I was actually working above his head, like fitting a light. him, his missus and his kid are sat there drinking tea and coffee, having lunch, and I'm sat there working above his head. I'm like, go on, mate, look. Give him a little nudge, knock it over with my foot. But a lot of time it's quite good being a Sparky because you'd be like, right, turn the power off. Last chance to stick the kettle on. Some people get a hint, some don't. But
I would be fuming, me. I think that depends how you've been brought up though as well. Like if you're around tradesmen a lot when you're younger, like you appreciate getting them a brew.
Yeah, it's usually the rich people who are the worst.
That's usually they just don't get it, do they though?
Well, I'd say it's not the rich people. I'd say it's the rich people like who have worked well for themselves are the nice ones. It's the people who want to be rich, think, oh, I'm better than you. Like, I'm trying to be rich. Like, I think I'm better than you.
Mummy and daddy's money rich really pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like get my own like problems out here. But, like, there's a lot of them where I live, and I can actually probably 9 out of 10 times tell you the difference when I meet someone and walking the dog, whether they've made their own money or whether it's the parents' money, just by the way they approach us. Like, there's the nicest bloke ever that lives at the end of our street that's like just got back from traveling Cambodia. Nice. And you can just tell that, like, I don't know what he's done, but all of his kids have personalised license plates with the surname on it, and he's got a
Nice.
Mercedes SL, and it's fucking gorgeous. And I keep meaning to ask him what he's done, but it's just, I've never managed to drop it in converse about it. Just going like, by the way, mate, like, what do you do? Because it's been bothering me. But I'm gonna make it a point to ask him. But they're always much different people than
Big time.
the younger ones that have basically the mum and dad's bought their house for them and stuff.
Yeah,
like
big
that.
time. You obviously get a lot of guys who just get businesses hand over to them as well, and they're the ones who like. Yeah,
I bet that in the trade fucks you right off, doesn't
lucky bastards. But no, it's like, yeah, you get a big mix of people working in trade, like completely different. I actually had a girl message me not so long back, and I thought I'll specifically try and work with tradesmen. That's what I said to Lydia about, and she was like, well, she works in the trade. And I was like, well, fair enough. She's got the same problems. Like,
Yeah, agreed.
I wouldn't say no. Do you know what I mean? If she's the right fit, I think the trouble is, I'm one of them. I've always said yes to everyone. It's got to learn that some people aren't the right fit. Like, you can't help everyone.
I think you were right on that one, though, if I'm honest. Like, I'm a big one on, like, gender isn't a niche. Like, the problem is that men and women don't usually have the same problems.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're specifically talking about trades, yeah, it's a majority of the trade is men, but not always.
Yeah.
So, like, there are going to be some women that
There
fit
are
all your problems.
I find painters and decorators that's full of women.
Oh, yeah.
Like, massively, yeah. I'm actually...
This probably sounds really sexist that we're sat here and like, painters, yeah, they paint.
It's mad. I actually work with a girl who's obviously an electrician as well. So they are out there.
It's just it's like a normal thing. Like when I was a physics teacher, like we had this massive drive to get women into science, technology, and engineering because they just never did it.
Some people are like better with their hands and stuff and prefer more hands-on shit.
It's not that they just don't go down that pathway at school, so they never end up going further down that pathway later on in life. Because when you see like the options for GCSEs, it's like lads pick tech and PE,
DT.
and all of that
technology,
stuff. Yeah, like everything inside tech, apart from food and textiles, which is what the women take.
Don't know. I took food tech.
You know what? I got a gold star in textiles.
I was going to say I always
But
brag.
that's only because my mum was a streamster and she had a sewing machine at home, so I used to take it home with me and get my mum to sew it and then bring it back in.
I always brag that I got a C in food tech.
That's decent. Yeah, but like again, there's going to be a crossover, but there's always like when you look at like the proportion of kids who pick certain subjects,
Yeah, it's crazy.
there's a massive difference in like technology and engineering. and
Yeah,
stuff
there's
like that.
definitely more blokes out there in the trade, but yeah, like I say, there is women, and if they are the right fit, then they're the right fit. They need help, then I can help them.
Well, again, they've got exactly the same problems.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. If you think about it, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with them being a woman comes into the fact that it's, they're getting offered cakes and biscuits and tea all the time. They're in an unhealthy environment.
Yeah.
Like, the people around them are generally unhealthy. It's a difficult balance of like, you are manual. So therefore you do need to eat a lot and you feel like you deserve to eat a fair amount as well because of the work you've done, but you still have to kind of keep a lid on it enough.
Yeah, it's mad. I get people on two ends of the spectrum. I get guys who say, like, I ain't got no energy, and I get other guys you put them on like 2,000. I don't know, you say for example 2,000 calories. They're like, I can't eat that. It's like, wait a minute, you've probably been eating that. It's like, no, I can't eat that. And then they're tracking. They're like, no, like I'm really struggling. It's like, you're probably not. Like you probably have been eating that. Like just shit. Do you know what I mean? But
some people don't, like when they go out all day, don't they, working? Like they'll have a brew for breakfast and a fag, and then not eat all day, and then go home and have like
I get no ending.
It's just
I get no ending, guys. Like that's the worst thing you can do. Stop yourself all day, and then they get home. It's like, what do you eat when you get home? Well, I have tea, and then I'll probably have like pack of biscuits, like 3 packs of crisps. Up, there's your problem.
Yeah. And they don't realise they're eating a whole day's worth of calories.
Yeah, it's like you've solved it. Like even if you're eating on the go, you're eating, but that is the worst thing you can do, especially with that. Like you get home, you're stressed, you then got to sit down, do paperwork, you sat on your ass doing nothing, and they just find themselves eating biscuits, eating crisps.
Yeah.
So you can see how the problems start.
And this is again why niche is so important, because obviously I didn't do groundwork for long. I must have worked with my dad for like 6 months or something like that. But even then, like it's tough, innit? Like you remember all the problems because you're like, well, I don't know if I've got a microwave. I don't even know if I've got shelter. Like the van's probably going to be fucking hot. So I'm going to need to know what I can do if I don't have time to make my lunch in the morning and I wake up late.
Yeah.
I need to know what to do if I don't have a microwave. I need to know what to pick if we're like near a Tesco or something like that.
You can actually buy cool boxes now that plug into your 12 volt.
Fuck off.
Keep it cold.
That's a new like revelation.
I never did invest, but yeah, I got myself a standard one. But you can buy them, yeah. Keep it hot or cold. So win-win.
That's it. So what advice would you give to people that are worrying about niching down?
Be yourself. Like nothing's too niche. Like if the person can relate to you, then they're probably going to work with you. If they can't relate, like if you yourself, at the end of the day, if I'm a tradesman, I know the problems and struggles. If I'm trying to target someone else, I'm trying to list off loads of problems and struggles that I don't actually have, then they're not going to work with me. So I always say, be yourself, and people will come to you if they can relate to you. And if you think about working with yourself, then people who want to work with you and have the same struggles will find you.
Brilliant. And if there's a tradesman listening to this, where can they find you?
Instagram, Joe _ the tradesman's coach.
Easy to find.
Also on YouTube, TikTok, but Instagram's obviously the main platform, and Facebook as well.
Perfect, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.